So back on the road, plenty of pull-in spaces here. German camper van. Used to play that game when I was a kid, driving around with me folks, spotting the foreign registrations. Still haven't lost it. So goodbye Guinness Lake. I could drink a fair percentage of you right now. I'm choking for a drink. I don't mean Guinness. A bottle of water would do. Now we still haven't reached the summit. I don't know if you can see on the camera. You can see the road going right over the horizon as far as you can see. And the Sally Gap is up there. I hope you can hear me all right. I know there's a fair bit of engine noise off this particular bike. Don't know if you saw my recent review of this latest camera setup. I'm very happy overall with the sound and the picture. Oh, it's great to see tourists out again. Places like this were just dead for the last 2 years, you know, with the lockdown. It's like a poisonous word now, isn't it, lockdown? In fact, on that note, I shall stop talking about it. This here is the PS I Love You bridge, which we're passing over. Made famous, of course, by the film. I don't know if any of you have seen it. Screenplay by Cecilia Ahern, an Irish author. And also the daughter of our ex-Taoiseach, our Prime Minister. If you don't know what Taoiseach is, Bertie Ahern. Really lovely lady. I've had the pleasure of meeting her a few times. Very talented girl. I can't say I've read any of her books, and I have to say I haven't even seen the film. But I do know that that is the PS I Love You bridge. Well, that's its nickname anyway. Still climbing. Shouldn't be too far from Sally Gap. And then I'm hoping on the other side of Sally Gap we're mainly downhill, because I'm really worried about the petrol situation. Well, I hope you're enjoying the spins so far. And we're just approaching Sally Gap. So, like I said, it's just a crossroads. From what I remember, there was a tree here. But no tree here anymore. Unless I was thinking of a different crossroads. But welcome to Sally Gap. It's just a series of road signs. And did you ever see the film Crossroads, where the blues guitarist meets the devil at the crossroads, basically choosing his destiny? It's a little bit like that, isn't it? I think I'm going to turn left. I would say I'll get off for a photo opportunity, but I've certainly seen a lot more photo opportunities along the way here, and I'm sure there's a lot more to come. As I said, this is just a crossroads, so we'll soldier on.
This road off the Sally Gap is known as the Military Road. It was constructed by the British Army in 1800 in the wake of the 1798 rebellion, and was one of the first ever purpose-built roads in Ireland. It's approximately 45 kilometres long and took 9 years to complete, and the rebel leader Michael Dwyer had a simple purpose for the road. It was to allow troops to travel quickly wherever they needed. At the same time, it would restrict the enemy to move unseen. Another additional factor was that there was a fear of a potential invasion from the French, and this would also help with the rapid movement of troops. However, in 1803, when Napoleon was defeated and the threat of the French invasion receded, the road stopped being used purely for the military. The local civilians were allowed to use it for the first time, followed by strangers, even though they required a permit. But even 200 years ago, it appears people admired the beauty of this area, and nothing has changed about that today.
What I can't get over, you know, so far into this series of mountain passes, I can't get over how many places there are like this in Ireland. No wonder the population of the island is only something like 7 million or something like that anyway, because there's literally no one here in so many areas of Ireland. They're all in Dublin and Cork. It really is unspoilt. I know people travel around the north coast of, or the west coast of Scotland, you know, on motorbikes and everything, but I've said for years, this is an untapped mecca for motorbikes. And to me, some of the best scenery I've ever seen in the world. But it's got everything a motorcyclist would want. And there's a big huge lake full of Guinness. So what more does any biker need? Okay, I have a bit of an emergency situation. You know, when your tank says you've like 30 kilometers left in it, and then all of a sudden it goes down to 10. That's sort of just happened with me. So I've just freewheeled for the last couple of kilometers. My tank says I have 6 kilometers of fuel left in it, and my sat-nav says the town, or the village rather, where the petrol station is 5.6 kilometers away. So if we continue to keep going downhill, I might just make it, but it'll be by the skin of my teeth. I don't think I've been this close to ever running out of petrol, and I've just felt spots of rain. On the other problem is I don't have a phone signal because of where we are, so this is really, really bad planning, Dave. And can you believe it, I was in the Boy Scouts and the motto used to be prepared. I normally am. This is actually annoying myself. I'll carry on freewheeling as much as I can to this village in the hope that there is a petrol station. I nearly can't look. My fuel gauge is telling me 2 kilometers, and the sat nav is telling me that I'll be at the village in 1.4 kilometers. So technically I'm nearly there, and I can see the red dot on my Google Maps telling me, or showing me where the village is. It's actually saying something called Great Gas as well, which I presume is a petrol station. I just hope it's not one of these little country petrol stations with one pump which broke 3 years ago. I'm very anxious. This is a real life emergency. I mean, I've no phone signal, no fuel. I'm a stupid bastard for letting this happen. And it's about to start raining, and I don't have a tent. But at least I'm going downhill and I can freewheel, which I am doing. Still, the scenery's beautiful, isn't it? Okay, at the bottom of this hill there should be a right turn. There it is. And I should be in the village. Please, 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 God, let there be a petrol station. At least there's a bit of life. And a guarded jeep, so if I get totally stuck, I could plead with the nice policeman to try and take me to a petrol station. Never done that before. It works very well for my wife for some reason, that. Not sure it'd have the same effect if I did it. Oh my god, look at that. Oh yes! Yes, there is a guard! And the lights on the petrol station are lit up. But hold on, where's the actual fuel? Where is it? So it says he's got petrol, but where is it? Okay, at least there's a sign lit up advertising petrol. Maybe I should... that looks absolutely gorgeous, doesn't it? Wow. Maybe I should ride up behind the... I think it's probably up behind the shop. Anyway, this is hopeful. Please let there be fuel. Where is it? Oh, please don't tease me. Right, I'm actually at the stage where I've got 1 kilometre. I don't know if you can see that. 1 kilometre in me petrol tank. With all of the anxiety inside me at the minute, I really don't want to drop the bike. So I shall park up and go and ask where the petrol pump is. Park on flat ground would be a help. Yeah, park here. Oh, there it is. Oh, that van was blocking it. Or Jeep rather. That'll do, and it looks like it's working. Oh my god. 1 kilometre left in the tank. My wife said angels always follow me. I'm beginning to think she's possibly right. Oh my god, I'm sweating. I'll tell you what, if I didn't have such a ride home, I know where I'd be heading after filling up that gorgeous looking pub over the road. Oh wow, okay, time to fill up. Right, full tank, don't know if you can read that. €39.42. That's the most I've ever spent on fuel because the tank was so empty. Oh, there's another thing. 19.82 litres. Now, I thought my tank was only 18 litres, but anyway, it just shows how empty it was. Wow, right, time to pay for this. I'm a very, very grateful motorcyclist. Okay, crisis averted, and back on the road with a full tank of petrol. Wow, that was, well, as you saw, 1 kilometre left in the tank. That was, oh my god, look at that. Look at that! Look at that waterfall. Holy moly. That is unbelievable. Oh, look what's coming down here as well. He is the German, no, they were French. He is the French guys on the three-wheeler. There's too much to look at here. Shall I look at the three-wheeler or the... or the waterfall? I hope you can see that. I don't know how to get to it, otherwise I'd try and get you some closer shots. And I think this is in the no-fly zone for the drone, so I can't even send the drone over. I'm certainly not going to risk it because I know we're close to the no-fly zone here. Right, well, we'll carry on. Okay, yeah, good to be back on the road. And I'll put the bike into gear because that might help me get back up the hill. Oh yeah, I can even twist the throttle around now because I've got a full tank. Wow, that was close. So what I'm doing now is heading back up towards the Sally Gap. So you'll have another opportunity to stare at the crossroads. And then I'm taking another road off it. Because there's somewhere, just to finish off the day, there's somewhere special I'd like to visit. Never been there before, but I'd love to share it with you. So, somebody else taking a photograph of the waterfall. I don't see how you can get down to it. Well, that's obviously where it is. Hello. Ooh, it's a nice smile. So we're nearly back to the Sally Gap, and well, we'll just take another look at it before I take one of the other roads, and then I'll tell you about where we're going to visit. You can just picture what it's like here in the winter. I said earlier about the road or the gap being closed for months over the winter. That's pretty much nearly every winter. It's well known to avoid this area in winter time. I could have swore there was a tree here the last time I was down this way. There may well have been. Right, so we need to head back towards Dublin, which I think is straight on here, to a place called Glencree, and that's the signpost there for 8 kilometres. So that cues the next stop, well, the final stop on this trip. There's just so much to talk about, by the way, within all of these places, you know, especially when you're in a national park like this. There's loads to see, loads to do, loads to visit, and you know, it would just, well, I just can't touch on it all because it's a sin to just whet your appetite and then not give you the whole story, so to speak. So but if you Google Wicklow National Park, you know, you can sit for the night on Google with a bottle of wine, just reading everything there is to do here. It's just a wonderful part of the world. Okay, so Glencree, there's a graveyard here, which is a German military graveyard, pretty much full up with washed up bodies of German troops from the Second World War. Now, there's an incredible story about one German spy who was buried in the same graveyard, and sure, I'll wait until I arrive at the graveyard and then I'll tell you the story. It's hard to believe, and it's not widely known, but I'll try and do the story justice within a minute or two anyway, as soon as we pass these lovely sheep in the road that well used to traffic, you can see. Okay, so we'll arrive at the graveyard, and I've just got to tell you this story. It's amazing.
Back in the Second World War, a German spy parachuted into a field in County Meath here in Ireland. They overshot England thanks to thick fog, which meant the searchlights couldn't detect the Luftwaffe. The spy, named Dr. Hermann Gortz, had with him a Morse code transmitter, which he began sending messages back to Germany with as soon as he dropped into the field. It turns out the Germans were quite keen to join forces with the IRA for several reasons, but primarily if the Germans could infiltrate Ireland, they could launch attacks far easier on England, just across the Irish Sea. What Gortz hadn't reckoned on was a university professor by the name of Dr. Richard Hayes, now the head of the National Library in Dublin, intercepting his Morse code messages back to Germany, but more importantly, the response. Hayes, now known as one of the world's greatest code breakers, cracked the code and started replying back to the German spy under the guise of being his commander back in Germany, and even promoting the spy to a higher honour to make sure his enthusiasm didn't wane. All through the code Hayes had cracked, and the German spy understood. The plot had been foiled by the Irish librarian, and when the German spy eventually realised this and knew the British authorities had been handed all of the info from Ireland, he took his own life with that standard piece of kit issued to all troops, a cyanide capsule. Today, the German spy lays in this graveyard, but without the genius of Dr. Richard Hayes, we could all have very well been speaking German. Dr. Richard Hayes, in my eyes, was one of the pivotal figures of World War II and a complete unsung hero. It seems quite fitting to end this video here, and also strangely riding home on my German motorcycle. There's a lot of food for thought within this story, and thanks for letting me share that with you. I hope you enjoyed another episode of Ireland's greatest mountain passes, and I'll be back next week with another vlog from Wheelie Good TV. I'm Dave Perry, over and out.